we've been doing a lot over the past 2 weeks.
Always doing something.
And of course, yesterday we're recording this on Saturday. Normally we try to do Fridays, but we actually had to wait until Saturday so I could get somewhat of a voice back. I was not going to be able to do it on Friday. And if any of you got the chance to watch my review of Chernobyl VR Project, you would have heard what my voice sounded like and realized why I had to wait a day and try to get it to heal a little bit. And even now I'm having to try and speak softly. But
well, I mean, you've got a pretty, I mean, not to put you down or anything, but you've got a pretty even voice anyway. So I mean, you're not one that has a very, very overbearing tone, I should say.
Yeah, I try to speak softly and carry a big stick.
That's what she said.
Don't say it. You did it. You did it. You said it.
I'm sorry. It's been a while, man. I haven't said that in a long time.
But we've been. That's going to be one of those things that never goes old, I guess.
It shouldn't, because The Office is great.
We've been doing some things, and of course, I have a little bit of a tradition. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a little bit, but. All my life, as far back as I can remember, I've had a Friday the 13th tradition. And so this past week, of course, yesterday being Friday the 13th. And at the time of our recording yesterday, it'll be Friday, this past Friday, if you're listening to it on a Sunday night. But I spent most of the week playing some scary games. I reviewed, the Chernobyl VR project. And I said in that review, or in the description of that review, I think that the reason I picked that is because I wanted something creepy or eerie, but I didn't want to give myself a heart attack. Because while it's true that I have never experienced VR sickness, no matter how hard I've tried, for whatever reason, horror-themed VR games, if I'm in a haunted house or doing any of the things that you do in Resident Evil 7 or any of this creepy, scary stuff, I don't know what it is. I know it's not real. I know I'm not actually in the creepy old house, but for whatever reason, it still scares me if I allow myself to get completely immersed.
Right. Well, I think that goes back. One thing that we always say about this VR stuff, and it's something too that we talked about when we were doing the review for Ready Player One, is just how immersive those things are, and especially if you're in a VR situation, and it's 360. It's not like, you talk about the first Resident Evil game. It was just, you have the screen and if you look either direction, you're still in your room or you're still wherever you're playing that thing at.
Well, yeah, I can play, as far as just a normal flat screen game, I love to play scary games. I've played some really intense horror games with no problem on that flat screen. But when you're inside that world, even though it's not, it's not like it's photorealistic, and you feel that you're sitting in a chair instead of walking through a house, you're not actually there, but it's real enough to make your brain want to tell you, yeah, we're here, we're in danger.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube, and when I get a chance just to goof around with it, is to watch people who aren't typically used to VR situations, and like somebody's grandma puts on a VR headset and then they play the horror zombie attack game.
And it's funny to watch, but I always feel bad for like the unsuspecting.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of sorry to put her in that.
But it's hysterical.
When the PSVR first came out, they were showing a lot of videos of the shark attack, and that video, that experience, it's not a video. It's a VR experience where you're being lowered down into the ocean and the shark attacks the cage, and it's intense. It's real enough to make you want to pick your legs up so they don't get bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
But that was my week. I like I said, I reviewed Chernobyl VR, just because I wanted to review something for Friday the 13th, but I didn't feel like doing a full-on horror VR experience. So I played some other games, some scary games. I always play Until Dawn on the PS4.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quick playthrough, and it's like watching an old horror movie. So that kind of takes me back to my lifelong tradition of watching and playing scary things.
Oh, that's cool.
On Friday the 13th.
That's cool.
And other than that, I've watched some scary movies, played some scary games, and obviously I've been sick this week, which you shared in that experience. But we're doing some other stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, I woke up Wednesday. I kind of felt it. You always have this feeling before it actually comes on, before it's full force and you can't breathe. And it was, especially if you're in Mississippi and you have this combination in the spring where Mississippi can't decide if it wants to be winter, spring, or summer. So you get all three in a day and a half. And on top of that,
on top of all of that, foot of pollen.
Absolutely. Everybody's car looks like Bumblebee from the Transformers, regardless of whether or not you've actually applied paint because of the pollen. And yeah, probably Monday or Tuesday I started to feel I'm about to get sick, and I don't know exactly how bad it's going to be. And then Wednesday morning I woke up and I could not breathe out of my nose. It was terrible. And I'm out of days at work, so I can't call in. And on top of that, one of the things that I've been doing is dealing with state test preparations.
Fun.
Man, and that's going to be probably the next couple weeks is dealing with that kind of stuff, going over the data from the practice tests and all that kind of stuff. It's just so much data to look at and deciding which student needs a little bit more attention in this area and which area you need to concentrate on more with the whole class.
Yeah, if there's any kids listening or parents of young kids that are going through these tests, just understand the teachers dread it just as much as the students.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that goes into it. And for the few hours that I've actually had to actually do something on my own without having to worry about that, I've caught the first maybe 6 episodes of the newest season of Jessica Jones. And it's pretty good. It kind of gets back into, I would say more, so far it's more like her dealing with her demons, her own demons. If you watch the first season, then it was all about, Kilgrave, and her relationship with him and trying to get out from under his control. And then, so now it's her dealing with her own past and why she is how she is and all that kind of jazz. And it's pretty good. I don't know if it's as good as the first season, but a lot of these shows tend to suffer from kind of a sophomore slump.
Well, and I've heard a lot of people say that a lot of these Netflix shows, especially, if they would trim down the number of episodes.
Well, the thing is,
get things rolling. I know that some of the shows you really need that time to get through the narrative or to explain some things or to set certain things up. But there's a lot of shows that could be 8 episodes instead of 13.
Yeah, well, that might be true. I don't know though. I mean, I feel like something that.
Of course, I haven't seen the latest season of Jessica Jones, so it may need that much breathing room.
Well, that's. I really feel like a lot of these shows, something happens every episode, and to me, that's the strength of a good television show is that it almost needs every episode.
And again, that's just something I've heard people say. I mean, you're talking to a guy who enjoyed Iron Fist.
Well,
so.
yeah, well,
and that is universally recognized as the worst.
I enjoyed it.
Marvel Netflix.
Yeah,
show.
I enjoyed that one as well, even though it was not as good as probably my favorite would be. Would it be that first season of Daredevil? I loved it. Luke Cage was pretty decent. Punisher was great. I finished it probably a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that series was really good, and especially the last few episodes in that were just phenomenal. And it's kind of one of those things where that last couple episodes were pretty graphic and gruesome, and I had to shudder a little bit almost. Yeah.
So let's just go head to head. If you had to pick a favorite thing you did this week, I mean, I know it's probably pretty close, but Test Prep or Jessica Jones, which one would be?
Oh, well, let's see here. It's really hard to say. I mean, just I don't know, man. It's tough. It's a tough decision. I'm sure the Test Prep is up there though.
Yeah. I mean, it's a close second at least if it doesn't take.
Yeah,
the trophy,
and then the whole not being able to breathe thing. That's pretty fun as well. That's.
I would say that the Test Prep probably beats out not being able to breathe by a
slim margin. Yeah, I would agree with that. Having to rely on Mucinex and cough drops to sleep is just I can't put in words how much fun that is.